Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm getting a little bit of a late start, but I want to show you something, excuse me, because the other day, I keep bringing this up. I want to bring it up again. As you know, PolySign is the most secretive custody company in all of digital assets, and there's a little rumor that's been put out here by Linqto that they could be adding that as a private equity option on their platform. And so this came out today, and I wanted to show you something about Linqto that you might not know. This is the COO, Joe Indoso.
Offering. We have skin in the game. The other players in the private market are brokers. So when you go to them seeking an investment, what they're trying to do is simply match you with somebody else that might be selling stock in the company that you want to make an investment in. They'll match you up with that seller, and if you can consummate that trade, they'll take a commission. We're acting as investment principals. We're using our own money at Linqto, and only after we've made the investment do we then open that investment up for participation. What does that mean? It means that we've taken 100% of the investment risk associated with that investment. And that means that we've got to be extraordinarily prudent and careful about the investments we're making, for the simple reason that it's Linqto's own money. And we're doing this each and every time. We've made 45 investments so far in the life of the company, and each one of those we've done in this fashion.
See, that's significant to me. And this is from Nick Burafedo at Linqto. He says, you are watching the making of a unicorn in real time. Now, you got to go to the top of this video in the description, and you have to click on the Linqto link and tell them DAI sent you. And the reason is, if they add, now PolySign is so secretive that I always have to whisper, but if they add this to the platform, I will be buying some for myself. I've been waiting. So you need to go click my link at the top of the description and tell them DAI sent you. Okay, it's hard to whisper, especially when my throat's just getting started this morning. I wanted to look at the pricing at coinpaprika.com. It looks like everything's a little down, but just basically kind of flat. Not anything too interesting going on there. But this is interesting from Zero Hedge. Coinbase to pause Ethereum ERC20 deposits withdrawals during the merge. Coinbase shares dropped 7% to session low. And then that gave me, it reminded me that I haven't checked in with Coinbase in a while. You remember this from John Deaton. The SEC filed the suit against former Coinbase product manager for insider trading for selling securities. They list 9 tokens as securities being sold on Coinbase without suing Coinbase. We're at war. The war started on December 22nd, 2020. Actually, I think it started years before that, when all of these people, through FUD, through lawsuits, through shorting XRP, through sending pundits out to talk down Ripple and XRP, I think that they were at it a long time before the lawsuit. But as usual, John Deaton's right on what he's saying here about how this is a war. When the SEC, he says the war started on December 22nd when the SEC called XRP itself a security. And I said, hey, Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, who, by the way, has a .eth handle on Twitter. I'm pretty sure I saw that. Well, let's go to his thing. It's, yeah, .eth. See, that's not a conflict of interest for a guy running an exchange to have a specific coins .eth in its name. That's not inappropriate or anything, is it? Hey, Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, checking back in. Have you delisted all 9 of these tokens yet? All it took was an SEC accusation with XRP. What are you waiting for? What's different? .eth question mark? All right, now, there's been a lot of controversy because the cancel culture always comes out when you say words like pre-allocation theory or anything like that. Well, Brad Combs had been saying it earlier this week. He's Digital Perspectives. And so, you know, a lot of times, you know, the cancel culture, just because they've dug their heels in, decides that you're not allowed to say certain things, and if you say it, they're going to call you hype and all kinds of names and all that. And so I take great pleasure in putting the words of people who actually worked at Ripple out for their viewing, because I don't remember any of them trying to cancel Bob Way when he was out talking. And for those of you that don't know, Bob Way was one of the first 10 people at Ripple. Okay, nobody, they won't try to cancel Brad Garlinghouse for his own words or Bob Way for his own words, because that doesn't go in line with the little narrative, the idea. But they'll attack the other social media influencers, and that's fine with me. I'm used to it. So anytime we see their own words, the truth, just like the SEC case, hey, how can you argue with somebody's own words? Hear it from Bob Way right here.
I also think it's important to remember about escrow that there could be...
By the way, this is Digital Perspectives interviewing him. It was like 2 years ago or something.
I also think it's important to remember about escrow that there could be portions along the way here that are allocated for entities like banks who understand we're not going to...
He's talking about the XRP escrow, and he's saying it could be allocated to banks, not just banks, but it could be allocated to countries. It could be allocated to government entities. Nobody knows. I mean, Ripple knows, of course, but there's so many NDAs, nobody knows for sure. But listen to what Bob Way says. He doesn't say, Brad, you're crazy, you're an idiot, that's hype. He doesn't say that. Listen to what he says.
Like a record company, put us on until we're going to get our blockchain together and all our this together and get their stuff in-house together, but it's waiting for them at a certain point as well. So is that a little too optimistic, or is that fair to say?
So let me expand on that a little bit, but that's generally fair to say. And that's
generally fair to say, he says. Then there was this one. This is David Schwartz. Now, I've talked a lot on this channel. I believe there will be assets on the XRP ledger or the Stellar network that are backed by gold. Listen to David Schwartz talking about stable coins.
This is David Schwartz, also known as Joel Katz, CTO at Ripple. I recently released a list of suggestions for XRP ledger development, and I got a lot of questions about the stablecoin proposal. So I thought it might be helpful for me to walk through what I have in the design to give people a better idea of how I intended the system to work. So first of all, it's a collateralized stablecoin. That means tokenized assets whose value are expected to remain constant in some unit. So if it's a dollar stable coin and you have 10 of it, you're expecting its value to remain stable at $10. These assets have a backing asset, in this case XRP. That means that there is something that is supposed to guarantee its value. Now, in some of those systems, you can actually redeem the stable coin for the backing asset. In some, you can't. What's interesting about this proposal is that the stable coins are perfectly liquid to XRP at face value on the ledger. So in other words, if you have $1 in a dollar stable coin designed on the system, what you have is a $1 claim on XRP enforceable by the ledger's payment mechanics. And the reason that that's important is with some other stablecoin designs, if the stablecoin isn't popular, it won't necessarily be liquid. If it's not listed on an exchange, if it can't easily be deposited and withdrawn, it won't be that useful. By the design of this system, the stablecoins can be offered through the on-ledger decentralized exchange, and they spend like XRP. So you don't need to find some way to make them liquid. You can just spend them right on the ledger. And of course, they can be pegged to anything that someone can provide a price feed on. Fiat currencies are probably what people typically think of, like dollars and euros or whatever. But they can also be pegged to things like stocks or precious metals or any other value.
Precious metals like gold, maybe? That's crazy talk. And then there's this. Now, this is interesting. And this is from Cowboy Crypto. He found this. Every dollar moved from deposit. Well, actually, I'll play some of the video here. But they're talking about CBDCs, and then Anders L says, this is why I believe USDC is the private sector chess move to avoid having a USD CBDC launch. And don't forget, USDC comes from Circle. And who backed Circle right from the beginning? Goldman Sachs. As my father, the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, has told me, and then I told you several times on this channel for years now, nothing happens without Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. Nothing in finance, that is. Okay, so they're behind the scenes in all of this. Okay, now a CBDC is a direct claim on the Fed. USDC is not. Why did Brian Brooks push the idea that there should be a USD private sector stablecoin used instead of a USD CBDC? He repeatedly stated that the private sector should solve issues of upgrading the dollar by the use of a stablecoin. He stated privacy issues having a CBDC along with the government control. Welcome to the real world power plays, by the way. They are truly changing the system bit by bit. Now, watch what this guy says.
We actually already have two types of digital dollars in this country. The first is your bank account, which is actually in digital dollars, not cash. That's referred to as commercial bank money. When you send or receive money using Venmo or ACH or RTP or take a direct deposit, that's all digital dollars in the form of commercial bank money. And that commercial bank money is your asset and the bank's liability. Central bank money currently is only in the form of reserves. It's an asset of the bank, a liability of the Fed. So a CBDC would be a new version of central bank money where you would effectively have an account with the Fed. It would be your asset and it would be the Fed's liability. Of course, what that means is if you transfer a dollar from your bank account to a CBDC, that dollar would no longer be funding the bank's assets, that is primarily loans. Instead, it would be funding the Fed's assets, which are primarily historically Treasury debt and Fannie and Freddie debt, so also known as agency debt. Thus, every dollar moved from deposits to CBDC is a dollar funding government, not the private sector. It's amazing how many people don't understand that and think somehow it will still continue to fund loans. It will not. Now, it's easy to say that doesn't really matter because it's pretty broadly agreed that a CBDC, to Alex's earlier question, will not pay interest for a variety of reasons. So at that point, if you have a digital wallet, why would you hold money in a non-interest-bearing CBDC, assuming rates rise? And why would you hold it there instead of a bank account that pays you deposits? And that probably is true. And in that case, it would be an expensive hobby for central banks. The problem, though, is what happens in March 2020 if people around the world, corporates and individuals, decide, well, you know what, I'm really scared and worried. So just for today, just for this week, I'm going to move my bank deposits into CBDC. Well, what that does is that implodes the banking system because all of those deposits can no longer fund loans, but those loans are long-term loans. So the worrisome thing about that is, well, the regulators will know that ex ante. So they'll say, well, you know what, when we write our liquidity rules, we're not going to treat those deposits as stable funding and allow them to fund loans because look what could happen. Instead, we're going to require you to fund your loans with longer-term debt.
All right. You can see it all coming together. And then there was this today, or yesterday maybe. Let's see. Yeah, yesterday. The Federal Reserve has published final guidance that could allow crypto banks to access its master accounts and payments network. Well, you know, that's quite the coincidence because just a week or two ago, former Ripple advisor Michael Barr will supervise the Federal Reserve. He'll influence policy on cryptocurrencies and stablecoins, along with serving as a top banking watchdog. Now, I had to show you this, folks. I'm going to finish with this. And I don't mean to pick on Hester Pierce. I do think Hester Pierce. Has good intentions. It's not that I don't think that, but I think that we're at a point with Congress and with these bureaucrats where it's time for some of them to step up to the plate and quit playing the same old game. We've heard it from Congress. We've heard it from I've heard it from congressmen. I've heard it from I think it was Warren Davidson. Oh, you know, we don't really you have to understand, we don't have the power to do anything yet. And therefore, he's not going to scream from the rooftops that there needs to be an investigation of Ethereum and ETHgate. Well, Hester Pierce, I've heard her do the same thing. Oh, what people don't understand is that I'm only one of X number of commissioners, and so I just don't have the. Well, here's the deal. What if John Deaton had said, well, you know, I'm only one attorney and I'm not one of these high-powered attorneys up in D.C. or New York City, so who am I? Who am I to go and sue the SEC? What if John Deaton had said that? Well, where would we be now? Absolutely nowhere. What if a lot of the social media influencers, which most of them did, especially early on, what if they had said, well, you know, who am I? I'm just a social media influencer. I'm not going to be able to uncover anything that went on with Ethereum or anything nefarious that may have gone on with all of this. What if all the social media influencers, including myself, what if the sleuths had said, well, we're just not going to do anything? Well, here's what would happen. The world never changes. The people that change the world, the people that change the game, the people that make shit happen, excuse the French, those people are the people that don't make excuses. Oh, well, this is the way it's always been. They're the people who get off their butts and do something bold, okay? And so, Hester Pierce, forgive me. I know you're listening because of this video right here, and I'll play it now. I'm not trying to be ugly to Hester Pierce or to anybody. That's not the point. But this country, this world is at a point where it's time for people to be bold and step to the plate and have some guts to do what you wouldn't normally do. And that's, thank the Lord for the John Deatons of the world and the internet sleuths of the world, because without them, we'd be nowhere. So here's how you know she's listening. Hello, Hester.
How does one get to be crypto mom? I mean, that's amazing to me.
Well, there are a couple answers to that. One, the way I got the name was that I wrote a dissent way back in 2018 about a Bitcoin exchange traded product that we were denying. And lo and behold, here we are all these years later, and we're still denying Bitcoin exchange traded products. But it was that dissent that got me the name. I will say that now people are suggesting that I should cede that name.
You can say it. Say the digital asset investor suggested it, because I did suggest it a week ago. And it's not about being ugly, but you're in a position to blow the whistle on what these people did. Remember, Jay Clayton and them did not copy Hester Pierce on that Hinman speech. She knows what went on. She knows a lot. And somebody, not one person in Congress has called for an investigation of ETHgate. Not one person in the SEC has stepped forward. She's made some statements, but nothing that's going to change the game. She knows where all the stuff is. She knows. She could do a lot more than she's done. And I think it's not just me. I've seen it on social media. But it's not that I don't think that she's a good person. I think that she is. I think she just hadn't had the guts to step up to the plate yet. But somebody's going to do it. So she's kind of, obviously heard that she shouldn't be crypto mom. All we've ever wanted out here, all we've ever wanted is someone, for the sake of our children, to step to the plate and talk about the corruption that is going on. Because you cannot defeat the corruption if you won't even call it by its name. It's time to step to the plate, Congress. Time to step to the plate, whistleblowers, somebody at the SEC. You know behind the scenes what happened. So sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that all I ever was trying to do here is look out for my children's future so that when I'm gone, they have one in the United States.